Hey Star fam, so let's recap the season finale of the saddest season ever. My God, today I can't say that I'm surprised that we're here with Pedro and Chantel, but I will say that this is hard to watch. So let's get into it. So we pick up where this last episode left off. Pedro finds Chantel. He starts rummaging through her things, trying to intimidate her. She takes off. While he's rummaging through her things, he sees that she had the paperwork that she filed to get him to America legally. He takes that and he's like, oh, my name's on it. I'm taking everything. So he takes the paperwork. He tries to confront Chantel again. Chantel is like, I'm calling the police. Pedro wisens up, hops in a car, and he takes off. Then we get to see Chantel in her confessional, and she is just been through it. She doesn't have on any makeup, no lashes, eyebrows are like gone. She hasn't drawn them in. She is just her pure, natural self. Still a beauty, but I just wanted to point out she looks so much like River without, being done up. I'm telling you, Mama Karen's jeans are strong. So one of the things that Chantel and Pedro are going back and forth about is the fact that Chantel is just like, you were taking out money. You were taking out large sums of money. That's why I removed the money from the account, because Pedro is saying, you stole my money from me. You stole my money from me. Now, I don't know if this is true, but on the 90 Day Fiancé Reddit, there was one post where they were saying that the money that Chantel removed was her trust. Mama Karen has a trust set up for each of her kids. The money from that trust was money that she received from the trust when she turned 30. She put that into the joint account, and Pedro was taking money out of that. So that's why Chantel was able to remove that money and put it in Winter's name and hide it from Pedro. That's the money that Pedro was talking about, allegedly. Allegedly, the money that he is saying that Chantel took is her trust fund money from Mama Karen that she received when she turned 30. This is all alleged. I saw this on a Reddit 90 Day Fiancé post. So I'm not sure, but this was a discussion that I thought was intriguing to bring to you guys. And if it is true, the nerve of him to be like, where is my money? I always thought that this money was their TV show money. I don't think that they put all of their money into from nursing and from Pedro working in the warehouse, because a damn sure ain't from him selling no houses, because he hasn't sold anything as of yet. I think this is their TV money, or I thought this was their TV money, because that would make sense for them to have $250,000 in their savings account or checking account, because they've been on the show for 4 seasons. So that does make sense if that's the case as well. Anyway, Pedro is, berating her, asking for it. Chantel is just not, budging. I love that she found her voice, and I love that she's standing up to him. But you could see, before Pedro fled from the police, you could see that she was still like in this weird space with him, right? Because Pedro planned everything out. So he executed everything flawlessly, but he pulled the rug from under her. So she is just like, in a space of like disarray and shock. And she doesn't really know quite yet how to speak to him, because now they're at war. So after Pedro leaves, Chantel is doing her confessional, and he calls her again and just starts harassing her about the money. And she's like, that is not your money. So it does give a little bit of weight to what was being talked about in the 90 Day Fiancé Reddit post, that is her money, because she was saying that's not your money. And even Mama Karen last week, she was just like, that's not his money. She can move her money. So I think that is her trust. And if that is her trust, I don't think he can legally, even if it was put in the joint account, I don't think that he legally has any ownership over that. But that's all for the Georgia courts to decide. And another thing that stuck out to me when Pedro called Chantel and was berating her while she was in her confessional, he was saying stuff like, I took care of you. I gave you so many things. I bought you all this stuff. I took care of you. I supported you. And I'm like, are you serious? Sir, we watched you. We watched you for 4 seasons on this show. We watched you on 90 Day Fiancé. She supported you. How did you ever support Chantel? I cannot believe that he is using the fact that while she was, studying to be a nurse, and while she was training to be a nurse, he was at home cooking and cleaning. That is him sacrificing everything and supporting her. Now, cleaning and cooking is absolutely something that does help out your partner, right? But the way Pedro is saying it, he's making it seem like Chantel was a stay-at-home wife and he was out getting all of this money and bringing it back home while also cleaning up their one-bedroom apartment and making all these delicious meals. I haven't seen him make a delicious meal yet. And I saw that medium bathroom that he complains about cleaning, and I'm just like, sir, I don't know what you believe is support, but if that is all you have done in your marriage to support your wife, you need to do more. You have not nearly done enough. She has outsold you in this marriage. By the end of this conversation, you can see Chantel start to take her power back. You can see her finding her voice again. You can see Mama Karen starting to speak through her, because she goes from being like disheveled and shocked and emotional. Her voice is no longer cracking, and she's like, you will never find that money, Pedro. That little thing that she does. You will never find that money. He won't find it. You will never find it. I said, go ahead, girl. Get your voice, get your life back, and stick it to him. He played you. Now play him back. Then in another confessional, she says, I will never let a man do this to me again. She was like, Pedro got me. He was able to do what he was able to do. But now I'm wiser. I will never let a man treat me like that again. I will never let a man take me through like that again. Pedro was it, and it won't ever happen again. And I was like, yes, I'm just so excited for her, right? Because what Pedro has done to her this season is just awful. Like, there's no way that you can root for him. He has just been completely mean and evil and vile, and his family has just been so awful to this woman. Like, I can't even see his side because of his actions. So seeing her get her strength back, right? Because in the beginning of this, she was fighting for this man, crying over this man, breaking down. Then it got to the point where she couldn't even get out of bed. But now we see her back, right? Now we see her slowly finding her voice. And now we see her after the fact, and she's like, never again. Only once will this happen to me. This won't happen to me again. I know that's right, sis, and I believe her. I believe her. I really, really do. I think Pedro is going to try to slither his way back to her when he realizes that America is a much different place without the protection of his loaded wife. He's going to try to come back, but the door is closed. The door is closed. Good for you, Chantel. So anyway, Pedro got a little problem because Chantel was like, listen, you could divorce me. You could try to make me sad. You could try to take everything from me. I'm still going on my girls trip to Panama, period. I was like, I know that's right, sis. I know that's right. She was like, I'm still going on my friend's birthday trip and I'm still going to have a good time. And while she was there, you could tell that she had a little difficulty, but her friends were so supportive. And she said she's glad that she went anyway because her friends really comforted her and lifted up her spirits. And I'm glad that she went. I'm glad that she didn't stop her life because Pedro just turned out to be, you know, the terrible husband that her mother knew that he would be. I'm also glad that she went on that trip because I think in that trip, when she got comforted by her girlfriends, away from all the chaos and the drama that is her crumbling marriage, I think in that moment, that time that she spent with her friends, I think that they loved on her enough for her to remember who she is, because she came back from that trip real different and she was not playing with Pedro. So I feel like that trip was just what she needed. Why do we get that clip of Pedro in his panties? We haven't seen this man in his panties this whole time. We have been watching this show for 4 seasons, and we have watched their relationship prior to that on 90 Day Fiance. We ain't never see him in no panties. So why y'all showing him some panties this time? Keep it cute. No more jump scares. Please and thank you. So while Chantel is out of the country, Pedro turns off the phone. Just being petty. Just being petty at this point. And I'm just like, I get you want your money, right? I hope that is not Chantel's trust fund money. Boy, you got another thing coming. So I get that you want your money, right? Harassing this woman, stealing this woman's things and holding them for ransom and now cutting off her phone. It's not going to help convince her that she should give you the money that you were stealing in large lump sums out of your joint account. So I don't know if this is a business account or if this is Chantel's trust. Either way, he should not have been taking that money out of that account, especially if it's a joint account, because you were not taking it to pay for joint things. You were taking out this money in large lump sums to pay for items that you were getting in your bachelor pad. And it's not a joint item, right? The items that you bought or your apartment is not something that you both have together. She doesn't have that address. She doesn't pop up at your place and harass you. You pop up at the place that you abandoned. I'm not even married, and I know you're not supposed to do that when you're going through a divorce. You abandoned the home. Now you want half of the pie of the home you abandoned? Listen, you need to stop listening to your mother, that fake lawyer, and you need to start listening to your American lawyer who can tell you what the laws are here in Georgia. Because, baby, you have made so many fouls on camera. This stuff is documented. And if you think Chantel's lawyer is not going to use this against you, buddy, you got another thing coming. Oh, he turns off her phone, and then he complains that he can't contact her. Why you turn the phone off? Because you were so busy. This is the thing, Pedro. You're not thinking. You're so busy trying to be petty. You're so busy trying to hurt her, tear her down to size, that you're not thinking things through. You want to contact her and get to talk to her so that she can give you access to the money that she removed from the account. But you turn off the phone. And that was your only way of communicating with her, because every time you go over the house, she's not there or the locks have been changed. So the phone was the last resort, and you cut the phone off. Your emotions are getting the best of you. You need to talk to that lawyer before you speak or do anything else on camera. And while Pedro is trying to find Chantel and communicate with her, because she can't communicate with her through phone, Chantel is now starting to realize that this was a scam, that he never really cared about her. And, you know, she's going through everything, right? Everything that she's done for him, everything that she spoke to him about concerning their future. And she says this one thing that just broke me. She was just like, he never talked about a future with me. I was always the one leading the charge to have a conversation about the future. He never had that conversation, or he would, you know, shut the conversation down, or he will never lead it out. I was always the one starting the conversation about children. He always put that off or act like it wasn't important in this moment. And she was just like, he never wanted a future with me. Oh, this is so heartbreaking. This is so heartbreaking to watch. Chantel, I'm rooting for you, sis. I am rooting for you. And we get this scene of Pedro's family, Lydia and Nicole, and he's telling them about all the things that Chantel did, right? And how terrible of a person she is. And I'm just like, the way you are narrating this story, my God, today, you're leaving out all the awful things you did. But even if you told your mother and sister the awful things you did, they would still try to make Chantel the problem. And while he's talking to his mother and sister about his divorce, Nicole decides to jump in there and say that Chantel has, you know, just making comments about her body and saying that now Pedro can get a girl, you know, with a huge behind because Chantel doesn't have one, and just, you know, tearing her down to size. And I'm just like, for a person with no behind yourself or chin, you sure do got a lot to say. Like Nicole, I wish I had your confidence, because I don't know what the hell you see when you look in the mirror, but for some reason you think you're the baddest thing that came out of the Dominican Republic. Because the way you talk about everybody, you would think that you didn't look like an ensemble cast member from A Bug's Life. You would think you weren't a body double for the shrunken hair dude in Beetlejuice. You would think that you were like this beauty queen. And I'm like, sis, you are doing far too much talking about somebody's looks when you are serving the Nightmare Before Christmas. If I was you, I would keep my mouth off of people. Stay woke. Stay woke. And the nerve of Lydia to say that Pedro polished Chantel. Are y'all delusional? Are y'all Pedro had nothing when he came here. She built that man up from the ground. She bought her own wedding ring. She put him in a home. She gave him and his ungrateful family a spinoff. The show is called The Family Chantel. There is no TV deal without her or her family. She upgraded all of y'all in every kind of way, and y'all were never grateful because it was a scam from jump. Y'all could never love her. Y'all could never love her family because it was a scam from jump. And the reason why you got mad at your son in earlier seasons was because he started to fall for her. That's why you got mad at him. That's why you didn't want to be bothered. That's why you and your daughter wanted to cut him off and say that he loves that family more than he loves you, because he started falling for the con. But you got him back with Karima, because I believe he slept with Karima. I believe he slept with Karima. And Karima, how pathetic that you are just willing at your big age to be on national TV as somebody's side chick, as a homewrecker. You're not even getting a cut. They're not paying you. They're paying you an exposure. And that's all you're getting, to be a side chick of somebody who is probably the most hated on TLC right now. Dummy. Dummy. Anyway, we go from this scene where Pedro's family is talking about how, you know, Pedro upgraded Chantel or whatever. And then we go to Chantel, who's talking about, you know, all the things that he took from the home or whatever. She's just like, I don't know where he lives. He has this nice apartment. I don't know where he lives. He's taking money out of the account to pay for this life, but I have no access to it, right? But he has access to here. He comes over here, he steals things. I have to take everything with me because I do not feel comfortable, because he constantly comes over the house and takes things. It seems like he had been over there a few more times because she had to change the back lock so that he could not get in. And she's just like, he has, you know, he's still walking around, because I looked on his Instagram, he's still walking around with the Gucci's that I got him. She was just like, he's still wearing his Carolina Herrera and his Louis Vuitton that I bought him, but I can't wear none of his stuff because he even took everything back. Vile. The dude is vile. Did you see how happy they were that Pedro's marriage was dissolving? Who the hell is happy when somebody's getting a divorce? Even if you don't like the person's partner, for a lot of people, a divorce is like a death. You don't want anybody you love going through something like that. And you guys are so happy. You're so happy because you've come to the end of this con and you think you've gotten everything that you can get out of Chantel. You guys are going to be so butthurt because once she gets rid of the dead weight that is Pedro, that woman is going to soar. And it would have been better for you if y'all would have stayed attached to her. But y'all going to find out soon and very soon how much of a success this woman really is. And you won't have no access to her. Fools. Low-level scammers. You never think of the big picture, because you don't know anything better. So Pedro has moved out, gotten his own apartment, obviously, you know, messing with somebody at the job. Listen, word on the street is it ain't Antonella that he messing with, it's the boss, who's allegedly a scammer and a felon. A mess. So Pedro, who cut off all communication from his wife, is now trying to find her to tell her in person that he wants to divorce her. Why? Like, there's no reason for him to have to tell her in person other than he wants to inflict more harm. So he goes over to her home, and I'm so glad that her family was there, because River came out the door. Like, Pedro was trying to get in and River came out, locked the door back, and was like, what's up? And he was like, I'm looking for Chantel. Like, I want to talk to her. But River did keep it civil. He was just like, yeah, you know, there's nothing for you to talk about, right? You wanted a divorce, you're getting a divorce. Like, what do you have to talk to her about? And then Pedro starts doing this thing where I call it the master manipulator move. He starts calling Chantel Pinky, right? Because I know that he knows that she can hear, right? Because that was his house before, so he knows how things work. He's just like, I just want to talk to Pinky. And I'm like, why is she Pinky all of a sudden? Why is she Pinky all of a sudden? Because I feel like Pedro, the master manipulator, knows that Chantel is getting away from him, and knows that Chantel now has the protection of her family and their wisdom, that the more that they are separated, the farther she will get away from him, and he won't be able to control her anymore, because he is absolutely seeking to control her during this divorce so that he can get the most out of it. But now, with her family in gear, especially Mama Karen, he knows that he won't have the control that he used to. So he's going to the Pinky to resort to the things that worked on her before, when they were together, when they were isolated. Those things that he was able to say and do to her, to get her to believe that he was actually here for her and actually loved her and actually will protect her. Master manipulator tactic, going back to things that actually worked. And one of those things is pet names, to invoke a memory, to invoke a relationship, so that Chantel can go back to that place and forget who you really are. I'm glad it didn't work, because she never came downstairs. River went back inside and was like, I'll get her to come talk to you, and he never did. He never did. Like, Pedro was out there waiting for a long time, and he could see River just sitting down. Then he saw River get it up, scratching himself, talking to his family. His dad was there, Winter was there. Like, they were all there, and they were not coming to the door, right? So he saw Mama Karen in the window, and he went over to the window, and then Mama Karen came out, and she was like, "Hi." "What do you need, Pedro?" And he was like, "I want to talk to Chantel." And she was like, "Why do you want to talk to her?" He's like, "Well, I want to let her know that I'm getting a divorce." And she was like, "Mom, Mom." Like, this family is hysterical. She's like, "Okay, you wanted the divorce, get the divorce." Like, why do you need to tell her, right? Like, blocking Chantel from Pedro's cruelty because she knows why he wants to talk to her, just to hurt her. Just to hurt her and to ask her for the money again. And Mama Karen is like, "Well, you got your divorce. You can go." Like, she's gonna give you the divorce. Like, you don't need to tell her in person. She already knows. Did you tell her already? Okay, so why do you need to tell her again? So she blocks his access to her. So Pedro walks away, and then in his confessional, he's just like, "Oh, this family is fake. They never loved me. They never cared for me. I thought that they were my family." And I'm just like, the only person fake in this situation is you. You never loved them. You never cared for them. You made them believe that you are actually a good guy when you're not. You made them believe that you were actually here for good intentions when you're not. And the only reason that I can say that, Pedro, is because your exit is so sloppy. Before you ask for the divorce, you already have an apartment. The day you ask for divorce, within hours, you're here with the truck to move your things out. You're not having sex with this woman for a year, but then you have multiple cheating rumors come out and your sister confirms one. Your mother and your sister this whole time openly talking about the scam to get them to the United States. Like, it's just so obvious at this point, and all of those who are rooting for you and trying to side with you are finally seeing, like Chantel, who you really are. A messy scammer. So after Pedro leaves, Chantel and her family, they sit in the kitchen and talk about like what her next move is. And Chantel is just like, "Well, you know, I do want to talk to him one last time. I want to talk to his mother. I want to talk to his sisters. I want to just end it with the family." And I'm like, "Chantel, you don't need to do that. You do not need to give that family closure. You don't need to do it. It's best, especially when you're so raw with emotions and especially when you're starting your healing, it's best to stay away from the people that are invoking pain upon you. You know, keep yourself separated from that. I hope your family intercedes and stop you from doing that. I know the show will encourage it because, you know, fireworks is good TV, right? But I just feel like she's been hurt enough this season. She doesn't need to be hurt anymore. You don't need closure from that man or that family. You got scammed. Take your losses and go. You know, one thing I really loved when Chantel's father and River were getting ready to leave, they were like, "Okay, are you guys coming?" And Winter's obviously staying because she's moved in to Chantel's home. She was just like, "You know, it was time for me to move out of my parents' home. And my sister is going through a lot right now and she needs me. So I'm going to, you know, move into this place, get my own independence from my family, but also be there to encourage my sister through this really difficult time." I love that. And I also love the fact that when River and his father was leaving, Mama Karen said, "You know what, I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna be here for my daughter right now." And her and Winter actually stayed in the home with Chantel for about a week or so to just love on her. Of course, Winter stayed because she lives there, but you know, with Mama Karen there, that mother energy, and then, you know, Winter, the little sister who's always the biggest protector, just loving on Chantel, I guarantee you she's going to be in a good place. And honestly, TLC, I'm telling you, you have a show without Pedro and his family. The family Chantel is very interesting. I would love to see Chantel and Winter just, you know, pick up the pieces after heartbreak. I want to see what's going on with River in his life. I love Mama Karen and her husband. They're so sweet and they're so real. It's just a good, wholesome, interesting family. And I would also like to see if Drake is going to make a cameo. Let's get into it. I think the family Chantel has something great to offer us. I do not believe for 1 second that the family Pedro has anything that we want to see. We're good. I guarantee you he's going to pop up, you know, to try to get some screen time and to try to hurt Chantel a bit more. But I'm hoping that, you know, with her family being by her side, that she will be able to, you know, dodge his attacked attempts and, you know, just continue to be stronger and grow from this. What a sad season. Can we be real? What a sad season. I didn't expect to be here with Pedro and Chantel so early. So early. I thought maybe after a kid or two, You know what I mean? Maybe, you know, when the kid turns 18, they'll be like, you know what, let's just try something different. But I didn't think that we'd be here so early with this couple. But I'm glad we are, right? Because this is the thing. If the man never really loved her, if the man was scamming her, which I believe he is, it's glad that there are no children attached. It's glad that these two are still very young. And, you know, Chantel can still get out there and snag a Drake, you know what I mean? Or snag an eligible bachelor. Or still have some time to, like, live her best life. There's still so much to salvage. Good for them for ending this now. That's all my thoughts about the family Chantel, a sad season that we got through together. Thank you all so much for showing so much love to my lives and my reviews of the show. I truly appreciate it. Welcome to the new people who have joined me from the Star family. Stick around. I review a ton of shows, and I think you would enjoy those reviews as well. If you like what you see here, please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I will see you in another video for something else. Let's get in the comment section and chat about this episode. Love you guys. Bye. Mwah.